Hello, everyone, and welcome to Total Space's coverage of the Ghost T launch of ULA. Today, I'm all by myself in the studio, um, but it's going to be an exciting launch. This launch is planned for. It is. I can't even speak here. This launch is planned for I believe 29:30. I think it's about. Oh, let me get my times mixed up here. Don't want to get my times mixed up. Great start. It is at 21:38 GMT or 4:38 PM Eastern Time. This satellite was planned to launch from Cape Canaveral, but there was a problem with a heat pipe which caused a delay to the mission. This is mission is dedicated by ULA to a Mark Tim with the following message inscribed on the rocket. In memory of our colleague and friend Mark Tim, the ULA team. This satellite is a powerful Earth observation satellite and um, also launches on ULA at a price tag of 145 million. The liftoff thrust of the rocket it is launching on is 10,470 kilonewtons by the looks of that. Is that kilograms? I'm not sure there. Payload to low Earth orbit of that rocket is 17,410 kilograms. Payload to geostationary orbit is 8,290 kilograms. This rocket has two stages, four strap-ons, a rocket height of 62.2 meters, a fairing diameter of 5.4 meters, a fairing height of 26.5 meters, and this is the 22nd orbital launch attempt of this rocket by United Launch Alliance and the 149th mission from United Launch Alliance. It is an expendable rocket and the fifth major version in the Atlas rocket family. It was originally designed by Lockheed Martin. Without further ado, let's get to our video feed, if that's live. Right, okay. Alright, we're not live just yet. Let's get some more information on the rocket, I suppose. The first stage is powered by a Russian RD-180 engine, which is manufactured by RD Amros and burning kerosene and liquid oxygen. The center upper stage is powered by one or two, depending on the payload, RL-10 engines manufactured by Aerojet Rocketdyne. Some stats on this kind of rocket. There's been 91 missions, 90 successes, and one partial failure. Success streak of 81. That seems. That is weird. Success rate 99.5, and today's launch is from Space Launch Complex 41 at Cape Canaveral in Florida. Ghost T is the third spacecraft, and is geostationary operational environmental satellites. GOES R series, which NOAA officials describe as the Western Hemisphere most sophisticated weather observing environmental monitoring system. Without further ado, I want to say hello to chat. If you have any questions, just fire away. We're excited for this launch. I hope you are. So this launch has been streamed directly from NASA, as I believe the rocket is affiliated with NASA. Not the rocket, sorry, the satellite is affiliated with NASA. It's unlucky that I am not joined by a co-host such as Rich or even Miko, for example. But we go on. It is planned to have a mass of 2,800 kilograms, and is moving to a geostationary weather. No, it's a geostationary weather satellite. An operational role as soon as possible by ensuring Ghost T systems perform as expected before moving the ABI data. I'm gibbering here. This was. I'm just going on for there. So, Mr. Producer, can I please see chat? I forgot about that. Yep. Hi, hello to Marco and Miko. Thank you for joining us in chat. Hope you can enjoy. And yep. And just getting a little bit for the earpiece there. We have 8 current viewers. Thank you to every single one of you for tuning in today to this fantastic launch. Hopefully, we see some fantastic views. As said, this rocket is expendable. While we're waiting, I would like to discuss about some other certain rocket news. Well, yeah, more in the year, I suppose. I believe that's actually before we do that, move on to discussing a bit about the satellite. Um, so this is, as said, it is planned to have a launch mass of 2,800 kilograms, and uh, this satellite was delayed due to a problem with the heat pipe. It is operated by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or the NOAA, and it is a current and let's try to think here. Uh, yeah, it is a third spacecraft in the Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellites, and what was I going to say there? It has better detection of heavy rainfall and flash flood risks, better fire detection and intensity estimation, so you can see how intense a fire is going to be and project how to combat that. Better monitoring of smoke and dust, so you can, if for example there's a big forest fire, for example, you can figure out with this data how to try and avoid that and trying to get rid of the risks as much as possible. Um, it also has earlier warnings of lightning, ground strike alerts. So that means that if there's lightning, they can figure out where it's going to be and where it's going to be much quicker and try and avoid any safety risks with that. So, ULA should be going live shortly. Yep, they are live, but it's just at the coming up screen. Believe. Let me just. Yep. Try this transition to the tibbles. We're just waiting for NASA/ULA to go live. That is quite a cool animation right there, surprisingly. With this satellite, we will most likely get camera views, but there may be some loss. It might not be the big variety as like missions like SpaceX, and we are live to the studio in ULA. But about the satellite, um, it was redesigned due to a severe malfunction in its instrument cooling system, which resulted in degraded performance of its infrared sensors. The cause of this problem was determined to be a loop heat pipe, or a LHP, which transports heat from an advanced baseline imager, nerd alert, to a radiator for rejection into space. Since the LHP design was shared amongst all 4 GOES-R series satellites, a redesign was required to prevent the anomaly from happening again on GOES-T and GOES-U. Right, yep, we are live to launch site. We are L minus. That's what NASA used. I forgot about that. 37 minutes till launch. We are currently tagging the vehicle, with cryogenic liquids of kerosene and liquid oxygen in preparation for launch. Sorry. Before launch, the engines will be chilled with cryogenic liquids to um, condition them to the intense heat of launch and ascent, so it isn't a massive shock to the system. Shortly after, the rocket will reach max Q, or the moment of maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. Then we should expect booster separation, and the rocket without boosters should continue for a little bit more, and then separate. The two stages will separate. The second stage will go on to geostationary orbit, I believe, and the first stage will burn up on re-entry to the atmosphere. So just try to get my fact sheet up here. Don't know all this off the top of my head.
Provide you with a
So how is
constant
everyone in
view
chat
of
doing
the Earth.
today?
In our case, we're able to look at half of the globe, and in doing so, we're also able to inform you on the environmental changes over time.
So that is a great animation of the satellite I just saw there. It's good. You know, it's a big, high-profile launch when you have two commentators on table. Well, on screen, to be honest, actually. That is a. I've just noticed in some photos. That is a big boy fairing on the Atlas right there. It is the first satellite to go. After Ghost T launches, it will be named GOES-18 once it reaches geostationary orbit. Following a successful on-orbit checkout of its instruments and systems, NO88 plans to put Ghost T immediately into operational service, replacing GOES 17 as GOES West. GOES 18 will work in tandem with GOES 16. NOAA's operational GOES East satellite together. GOES 6. Oh, this is going to end up getting like, yeah. Yeah. Sure. The Advanced Baseline Imager is the primary instrument on the GOES series for imaging Earth's weather, oceans, and environment. So that, as said, that gives us some great predictions. Changes were made to the radiator and loop heat pipes, but we've already went over that. The other instruments are the Solar Ultraviolet Imager, or SUVI, and Extreme Ultraviolet and X-ray Irradiance Sensors, EXIS, provide imaging of the sun and detection of solar flares. The Space Environment In Situ Suite, or SEISS, and magnetometer and monitor. So yeah, magnetometer and monitor. That is a tongue twister. Respectively, that that is some of the instruments on this rocket. Do, 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 do. So we do have. I'm unsure if this is an instantaneous launch window today. We are currently, as it seems, at T minus 4 minutes at holding. And entered the planned 30-minute hold, designed to give a bit of margin to deal with any problems. Also, during this pause, the final readiness polls of the launch team and management members will be performed. So that is when you do your go no go polls. So, also, yeah, if I'll get a bit of commentary at the moment. We'll use primary NASA video, and we'll go from there. so you can just
from the
hear about
vertical
this fantastic.
integration facility to the pad. We got a little video there, and you can
Yep,
see
that works.
there it is, the Atlas V coming out, all 200 feet tall rocket coming out of
Yep,
the
any
vertical
questions
integration
from chat?
facility and rolling about a
Um,
third of
they
a
have
mile
completed the
out to the launch pad.
fuel
Nick, you were out
build
there.
sequence to
Pretty smooth
ready the first
operation.
stage main
Yeah, it was.
propulsion
Team did a
system
great
for
job
launch.
traveling,
So
making
that is
that
basically like
trip about
engine
1,800
chill.
feet to the
All
pad.
three
Traveled about a
cryogenic
half a mile an
tanks on the
hour
rocket
between
have
the
been
mobile
topped
launch
off to flight
platform and
level.
everything there. And
This gives a
team did
fully fueled
great
rocket
getting it
ready
out
to
there and
launch
ready
today.
for
Let's
RP1
go.
tanking and then launch
That
today.
is a
You
completely
look at the
different
rocket there,
procedure
and it carries a special
from
dedication today.
SpaceX. As we
Nick,
said
that
on
heard the
Friday,
name
they
of
do a
a
load and go.
former
So if
ULA
they have a
employee by the name of
problem,
Mark
they have
Kent.
to scrub.
Mark started his long
That is the
aerospace
guy
career with
in
the
this
Boeing team in
footage at this
1987,
launch
but
is
after a decade in Denver,
dedicated
Colorado,
to.
he transferred to ULA's
Let me get the
facility
name.
in Decatur, Alabama.
You
That's
maybe
where
will
Mark
hear
Kent
it, but
supported ULA's
yep.
fleet of rockets, including the Delta II, Delta IV, Atlas V, and Vulcan.
I'm willing
There
to
you
get
see him
some
in the
audio, I
middle,
just realized.
surrounded by NASA astronauts. Mark 10 passed away in 2020, and he's missed by all those who had the pleasure of working with him during his 30-year career in aerospace. And Mick, you knew him.
Yeah, I got to know Mark when he was in the Decatur facility, and I'll tell you, he was an extraordinary person.
So, as said,
team
how
will
is
miss
chat?
him, and our
How's
heart goes
everyone's
out to the
day?
family and everyone that worked with Mark. He was
I
a great
believe
guy.
this mission will be
And just
launching
wrapping
east.
up, we are on time and on schedule for a 4:38 p.m. Eastern Time launch of this Atlas V rocket. A beautiful shot from a drone there. We are ready to roll. We'll have the LSP NASA Launch Manager poll here in just a few minutes, but for now, back to Megan.
Thank you both. And now
We're
for a
going
check
to
on the weather, here's Launch
check.
Weather Officer Arlena Moses from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station's 45th Weather Squadron. Arlena, this launch weather you're about to report
yes, we're about to get the
right?
weather check.
Yes, that's correct, Megan. In fact,
Pacific
right
or
behind me is an
Atlantic?
example of the type of imagery that
I
we get from
believe it's the
GOES
Atlantic
satellite.
Ocean
In this case, because
due
we're here
to
in Florida, this is from the GOES East satellite, giving us
the
a great
proximity
view
of
what's going
space
on
launch
across the Cape and
space
East Central Florida
space launch
this afternoon.
complex.
Now, as mentioned earlier, we did have quite a bit of overcast clouds and some low clouds out there earlier today. But as our satellite imagery is showing, we've scattered out pretty nicely with only a few clouds as a concern as we go through the remainder of the launch countdown. The trade-off,
Get a full
however,
weather
for
report here,
those
boys.
clearer skies and partly sunny conditions is that we do have pretty breezy conditions out there. Sure, anybody who's outside across the Cape this afternoon is experiencing. And those are going to be our primary concerns as we go forth into the count for the remainder into the launch. Now, if we take a look at the forecast here, we're going to be looking at those pretty gusty northerly winds from about 26 to 32 mile per hour range. Temperatures about on point for this time of year here in Central Florida, where temperatures are going to be in the upper 60s to around 70, which will feel a little bit cool if you're outside with that.
It goes over the Atlantic Ocean. I was right.
As I mentioned earlier,
we are 80% go. I believe that went up from 70 on the day.
Some of those passing cumulus clouds.
The main concerns are liftoff winds and cumulus clouds. That seems that's the main concern for basically every launch I've seen.
Back to you guys, Megan and Kevin.
All right, you said fingers crossed. We're doing it. Hey,
yeah.
Where are your fingers? Okay. Arlena, thank you again. Quick check of the clock. We are now at L minus about 28 minutes to go before we launch GOES-T. Now, GOES stands for Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellites. Geostationary refers to where and how the satellite will orbit the Earth. So this might be a little difficult to understand unless you see.
Chat, are we ready for this launch today? Can I get let's go GOES-T in chat? Or go or no, for example. Are we all go?
So in the case of polar orbiters, they typically will rotate along the poles.
Are we all go? Let's go!
As the planet rotates underneath it. So there is a time frame for which they can provide you a global image. And so again, in a low Earth orbit, that is why you'll see those particular satellites used.
But the geostationary orbit, it has to be in a fixed place, so in the sky at all times, right?
Correct. And actually, to achieve that, you have to be 22,000 miles above the planet, and as a result, so it can
we have go from.
So relative to your position,
I wonder what is his role in the launch control center? Is my question. While we're waiting, I would like to show you. Have we got a time lapse lined up, Mr. Producer?
Western Africa all the way to New Zealand.
All right, and GOES-T will reach that geostationary orbit
Just while we're waiting for that, my name is Jack. I also go by the name Space Civilian on Twitter. I have been in the space community for absolute ages, working for various space companies, but I'm well excited to be here. I'm really happy to work for Total Space, and I'm well looking forward to enjoying rocket launches with you all, like this. So let's go, Ghost T. Yeah. Yeah, B-roll. Let's go. This is some of the stuff I do. This is a Falcon 9 fairing. The kind of stuff I print. This is a chopstick for a launch tower. The Starbase launch tower, to be exactly. I 3D print and sell these models, and I'm really like, and if you can see me in the background right there. Yeah, true. Yeah, if you want to find my page and some of my 3D prints, the link will be on Total Space's Twitter. But yep, this rocket will be renamed, just like I mentioned. Look at those solar arrays, man. Some of this stuff like must be really hard to test on the ground. Yeah, true. Thank you, Miko. Oh yeah, it'd be quite hard to get a photo of that though. I don't even know I have one. Yeah, I also print some prints. Going back to my 3D prints, I printed some stuff for the actual members of Total Space. I printed a massive, quite a big Falcon 9, shot for Gravitas, a giant capsule, uh, and for members of Total Space, I've actually printed two giant giant capsules. It's quite hard to say how big these are. They are about, like, how do I explain it? They're like massive, like can't hold it with one hand, kind of massive. Yeah, yeah, 1.8 kilos. I'm just getting through my ear. Some of this video is quite cool, actually.
GOES-T's instruments will gather data that can help in so many different ways, as you just saw. For more on that, let's hear from NASA's Leo Martin.
Thanks, Megan. I'm here with Pam Sullivan, NOAA GOES-R program manager. Pam, thanks for joining us today to give some insight onto this mission.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So we've heard that there are 6 advanced instruments on board GOES-T. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Sure. Let me tell you about our most revolutionary instrument, the Geostationary Lightning Mapper. It's actually the first time we've had this capability on orbit, and this instrument is watching the Earth, taking pictures 500 times a second to look at lightning. And because it is a new instrument, we're actually learning new and interesting things about lightning as a phenomena. For instance, we've seen that large wildfires can generate their own lightning. And the GLM has also shown us that lightning strikes can be really, really long. For instance, GLM recently measured a lightning strike that was more than 470 miles long, stretched from Texas over to Mississippi.
Wow. And so having that type of information, 500 images per second, that's almost like having maybe like a stop motion film. What can we do with that information once we have it?
Yeah, well, the important thing, of course, is what the forecasters can do with it. And they use the GLM data in conjunction with our advanced baseline imager data and some other data.
But we are getting there.
When they're wanting to see if a storm is intensifying, they're looking at that lightning signature, and they're looking for what they call a lightning jump, when the amount of lightning strikes increase dramatically, because that indicates that the storm is likely to be becoming more severe and may spawn dangerous tornadoes.
Welcome to
So
some
we talked a little bit about the
being a
location,
member
that this will
of
become
Total
a
Space.
satellite that
Welcome.
observes the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, welcome
Why is
Geo
that
to the
location
chat.
significant?
Thank
Yeah,
you for
specifically, Ghost T is
listening
going to
to
go into
this
service
brilliant launch.
as our Goes West spacecraft. So it'll be stationed over the equator, a little bit off of the west coast of the U.S.
As said
and as you
before,
know, most
this
of the weather
will
in the US moves from west to east, so that western satellite is
go
really
like kind of
important
measure
as
weather.
giving us an
Well,
upstream
not
view of what's
measure weather
coming.
per se, but just
So
analyze
that's
weather
a
of
big part
all
of it.
over the
But the
world
other thing,
and
Ghost T will also
lightning, for
see
example,
dangerous
and
conditions that are
they
particular
can
in the
also
west,
go by
like
solar
wildfires
flares.
and smoke, dangerous dust storms, and also the phenomena of atmospheric rivers.
That's incredible. And so some of these instruments that are on board that are advanced, they're actually an advancement from current satellites that are in orbit now. Is that correct?
So the GOES-R series, compared to the previous generation, is much more advanced. The Advanced Baseline Imager generates 60 times more imagery, and then the Lightning Mapper, as I said, is a brand new capability.
Thank you so much, Pam, for giving us some insight into this mission. We're excited to see the launch, and Megan,
Some
we're gonna
great
go back
media
to you.
coverage with this launch.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. You know, one agency actually uses GOES satellite data more than anyone else, and that's the National Weather Service. So joining us now is Chrissy Hurley, who's a meteorologist there for the Nashville area. Hey.
Hello.
Good to have you.
Thank you for having me. So excited.
Yeah, and I know
Do you
your job
think,
as a warning
like,
coordination meteorologist, that
companies...
means that you need to coordinate with people,
I'm going to ask chat
public
this
safety
question. Do you
officials
think
if there's
companies can
severe,
pay
weather headed that
ULA,
way,
for
right?
example,
Yes,
for this
that's
kind of
my
media
main
coverage?
job is outreach with the public, team
Like, as an extra
meteorologists,
cost,
and
if they
emergency
want to,
managers
like,
and safety
get
personnel.
the
We
satellite...
just heard Pam say that GOES satellite data,
Yeah, in the
or
public
GOES
eye.
satellites look for things like atmospheric rivers. Can you talk to me about what that is?
Yeah, an atmospheric river is very similar to a river on land. It's taking moisture from a tropical region and transporting it in the sky to cooler, drier regions over land. And so this can be a sign for heavier precipitation or snowfall or rain, which could lead to flash flooding.
So it's a flooding event. There are
That's,
many different
it's
kinds
good
of
that they
flooding
can
event,
help with
Right,
this
yes.
flooding.
And so
They can
last
help
year,
to...
I remember you and I were
to
talking, there was a
find-
major flooding event. It was
Yeah, it
actually
can
a
help with
deadly
disaster
flooding event
management,
in
for
August
example,
in that
so they
Middle
can
Tennessee area.
Right.
figure out
Waverly,
how to help
Tennessee
after a
experienced
disaster like a flood, for
catastrophic flooding
example.
where we had
Or even
over
like
20 inches of rain that occurred
something
in
about
McEwen,
this can help with like
Tennessee,
after like
that
other natural
less
disasters
than
like
12
earthquakes.
hours.
Wow.
And so we were able to use GOES satellite imagery to monitor the intensity of these storms and watch how they just trained over the same locations over and over and over, and able to, alert emergency officials that that rain wasn't going anywhere.
Wow, and the last time
As good that these satellites aren't about just science, they're about
Yes,
helping humanity as well, because that is a main complaint of some people who don't really like the way doing stuff in space.
Data coming in much quicker, better resolution, and this is really going to help us, predict, forecast better, and save lives.
When we say much quicker, what does it mean? How often were we getting images in 2010 versus now?
In 2010, we were getting images every 15, 30 minutes.
That is much quicker for images. I wonder if these satellites have
30 to 60
a certain,
seconds.
Wow.
I wonder how big their hard drive has to be, or if they just take photos and transfer so they don't need
Thank you so
store.
much for joining us and giving us that insight.
Yeah,
because that is
downstreams
really
could be
something
used.
to think about. Minutes versus seconds, and seconds really matter in severe weather events.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chrissy. Now, GOES also has the latest technology in detecting and tracking wildfires. A few years ago, one wildfire tore through California at an estimated rate of 100 football fields a minute.
The 2020 Western U.S. wildfire season was historic, both for the record 59,000 wildfires that
Wildfires is wild. It's crazy how much a satellite can help on Earth compared to how much a satellite probably costing like is helping us a lot.
Since launching in 2016, NOAA's most advanced geostationary satellites are improving fire weather forecasts, wildfire detection, and fire hazard tracking in near real time. With lives and property at stake, Timely, high-quality data is critical.
That is
for
good that they can
firefighting
probably
efforts on the
relay
ground.
feedback to firefighters to
NOAA's
see where they
GOES
need to fight
17,
fires, for
operating
example,
in the GOES
to
West
help
orbit,
put out
has shown its
wildfires
mettle,
and
detecting
probably
and
save
monitoring
lives.
wildfires and the hazardous smoke they emit.
There's two instruments on the GOES series of satellites which are helpful for wildfire detection and monitoring. The first is the Advanced Baseline Imager, or the ABI. We're able to detect hotspots from the thermal signatures from the fires, and we're also able to detect the smoke and track the smoke with time in order to issue notifications and warnings to the public. The second instrument
This is about all
called
the instruments on the
Lightning
satellites,
Mapper,
so
or the
listen in.
GLM. GLM is important because oftentimes lightning is the cause of the start of wildfires. And so forecasters can monitor the GLM to see where lightning has occurred to decide whether or not they think some lightning may have started a fire.
But a new satellite called GOES-T is poised to replace GOES-17 in the GOES West position. Once it reaches orbit, GOES-T will be renamed GOES-18, and it will provide the same sophisticated technology.
Thank you
track
for all the
wildfires
people
in the western
who
US, as well as
help
detect lightning that
us
can
get our
ignite a
message out of
wildfire in parts of
spreading
vegetation.
space
This
to
current
everyone around
capability
the
of
world.
GOES is the
Especially on
fact that we
social
can do
media
rapid
platforms, for
scans,
example, on
higher
Twitter.
resolution with higher sensitivity.
Yeah, Twitter, I
and include
believe we
things for the
have
first
a
time, like
website as
Lightning
well.
Mapper and the ABI instruments.
Yeah, at
I don't think we could
totalspace.net.
imagine not having
So go and check
GOES
that out if you
capability. We absolutely
want
need it.
some good entertainment.
The National Interagency Fire Center is the nation's support center for wildland firefighting.
GOES is an eye in the sky. It's giving us a hemispheric perspective with those 16 and 17 without having those two satellites up there constantly staring, constantly monitoring, constantly providing us with information. We really have just a big gap. We would lose a lot of our capability to understand the environment, to see the interaction of the fires with the atmosphere and see how the atmosphere is impacting the behavior of the fires. With those being able to look at the United States every 5 to 10 minutes, we're getting a much more real-time appreciation for how fires are behaving because of the ability of the GOES satellites to detect the heat from the fires.
Got all those cameras,
Kevin,
geez,
we were
though.
talking
Like,
earlier,
maybe
you
some of
told
them
me
are
that
teleprompters,
oftentimes
though.
GOES satellites, even at 22,000 miles above the Earth's surface, they can sometimes detect fires before people on the ground even know that they're there.
Absolutely.
That's so impressive.
It's an amazing capability, absolutely. And we heard from our National Weather Service rep, I mean, right there, that's a great example of how it happens. National Weather Service meteorologists are able to view an area that's not populated, but they can see a heat signature and actually detect that fire. And we found out to the tune of 80% of the time, they're the first ones to actually call and let fire responders know that there's a fire that's
As always, thank you for everyone joining us today. It helps us just spread news around the space community and just enjoy what we're doing.
Every single
Thank you
day.
to every single one of you.
You want to see what's forecast and you're opening up an app.
It's barely
or
been
weather
a
app.
dream
That's exactly what you're
come
doing. You're actually using
true
GOES
for
information. That GOES
not just me,
data
but the
is
whole
going
Total
directly
Space
into the models
team,
that inform you what the
just to
conditions are gonna be.
spread
Fascinating.
space
I can't.
to everyone.
I had no idea. Here I am just looking, and you never think about where it came from. So thank you so much for telling us about
If
that.
you haven't noticed,
We're
I'm
now
trying to be
minus about
slightly less
14 minutes
Scottish,
away from launching
so we don't need to
GOES-T
bring in
to
a
Olympic.
translator
It's about
and
time
hire
for
a
that launch
translator for
management
chat.
poll you talked about.
It sure is. And before we get to that poll, which is happening at L-13, so just about 50 seconds from now, we got an update from the launch weather officer. You can see on the bottom of your screen the weather briefing there, right there. They talked about the winds. They're still pretty up, but the clouds have dissipated, so we are
13
now
minutes
at 90%
till
go for launch.
about L
improving
minus 13
from that
minutes and 30
80%
seconds on my
earlier that you
clock.
heard reported. But Mick, still got a
Yep.
10% because we are watching those winds.
Yeah, as you can see in the forecast,
this is the same pad that
where
Starline
Megan and
will
Kevin
eventually
are, the winds are
launch
still
from.
here on the ground, blowing pretty good. The team is continuing
Yep,
to
always
monitor
go
those.
until
Yeah,
we're
I'm
not
glad
go.
to hear that 90%
Always to the
go.
last minute keeps us on the toes, Geo.
For upper level,
Yep, that's the same
remain
pad
green
that Starline
through
will launch for in the future. You can see the crew access on.
significantly into the window.
Um,
And then when we get the later
that
updates,
will
Listen,
will
so we
allow
have
crew
very
into the vehicle
improved ground
eventually.
winds additionally. So,
A
with
vehicle
great
eventually
weather,
when we do a crew
we've
launch
had
test.
a really good trial
This
to
vehicle,
load today, and very, very little activity
Yep.
on range instrumentation. So with that, I would like to now conduct the GOES-T launch poll.
the rocket did roll out the hangar recently, But now are we go or no go chat? Let's go. That is a small control center, I just realised that. We are go.
SMA is go.
Copy SMA.
Go.
SMD.
2 goes.
SMD is go.
Copy SMD.
2 goes.
SMM.
3 goes.
SMM is go.
Copy SMM. And LSP.
4 goes.
LSP's go. Copy LSP. NLM copies.
We are go! Let's go!
Goes T spacecraft.
Let's
that was
go!
NASA launch manager Tim Dunn that you saw at the bottom of the screen.
We are go for launch on the weather front for the Ghost T
Chuck, that was a very
geostationary lightning.
sorry,
I was just reading that caption there.
I did hear Chuck.
We are go for launch on the weather front of this rocket. Whoa, look at that sea.
NASA LSP. This will be his last mission as he just announced his retirement from NASA after 40 years. So this mission, Chuck, goes T. Thanks for everything you've done, and thanks for that go.
Been here a long time. Didn't he start as an intern?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
That's a long career. Well, congratulations to him. And here we are with the rocket on the pad, ready to go. We're going to pick up this countdown. We're also going to have a special message from somebody you may know, a very popular and somewhat famous
a special
neurologist.
message.
We're going to get to that in a second.
Neurologist.
We'll send it back to Megan for now.
Any guesses, chat?
Ghost T is one of many NASA science
Any guesses?
missions underway right now. Let's head back to Leah to learn more about that.
Hi, Megan. I'm here with Dr. Thomas Zurbuchen, NASA's Associate Administrator for the Science Missions Directorate, and this is a huge year for you and your team.
Absolutely. It's a year of science. Every year is a year of science.
Oh, yeah, him.
Like we have an amazing number of
he was the administrator until till Nelson got the reins at NASA.
And you see the theme, it's all Earth science-related launches. Some of them in partnership. We also have Psyche,
did they stop launch control? I don't watch that ULA launches that often, but
yes, and so
cool.
Many of the missions that you just mentioned are actually tied in to both weather and the environment. Why is that important for NASA and the work that we're doing?
From the beginning, NASA was about exploring the universe, but also exploring and understanding our own Earth and providing service for that. And the launch today, as well as many of the launches in the future, are precisely about that, understanding our changing planet, the system of systems. Everybody we love is right here. Our entire history is right here on that planet.
We should get, I don't know if we should get Kurt a little bit strong back retract.
How will we use that?
So the information we get from these launches, we use to
get
a better understanding. In
I
many
believe
areas,
it should
of
go
course,
back slightly further.
About the aerosols that are in the air. Where do they come from? We know they relate to precipitation in many areas. Like, how do they get transported globally? My daughter has asthma. It's about
the next ULA mission I'm probably hyped for is probably the next Delta Heavy launch. The way it sets itself on fire is quite cool.
And so forth. That's precisely, each of them has an application like that, set of understandings that we want to bring to the table.
It pops off the pad.
It's a very simple application here on Earth, for life on Earth. So we also heard that the information that
Wonder if a customer, I believe Tori Bruno actually said this, if a customer requests something's painted on a rocket or even painted a different colour, they can.
The science portfolio is information that is made public.
I would just love a big bright orange rocket.
Learners of all ages to be able to look at this, but we also believe it's really important to trust the science. You should be able to look
big orange rocket go boom.
And we think that's a really important part, and we've let that. We're actually moving from open data to open science, so we actually even make in the future the codes available.
About SLS, have you seen about that budget of SLS? I believe it's like it's a 2 or 4 billion per launch on hardware,
thank you so much for joining us
and
today.
all that's
We're
been
looking
expended.
forward to this launch. I'm sure that you are as well, and we really appreciate you being here.
We're currently 8 minutes away. We're getting there, folks. Getting there.
Both, and now taking us the rest of the way of the launch countdown is Daryl and Mick. Guys, take it away.
All right, thank you, Megan. L minus 7 minutes and 50 seconds until liftoff. Welcome back inside the Atlas Spaceflight Operations Center. The launch team right behind us, working this launch, and so far
I'm just looking at this launch control center. Are those monitors from the 1990s?
Yeah, everything sounded great. The team is
they are.
To finalize
I literally have them in my BIT classroom.
And sync up the L clock and the T clock. We're coming up on that launch conductor poll.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
L minus 7 minutes with Dylan Rice. So I'm looking forward to hearing all
that is lovely models from the 1990s.
To get GOES-T on its way.
You can look at the bottom of our screen. You can see the milestones as we count down to liftoff. We are coming up on polling, which is at L minus 7 minutes and just a few seconds.
Well, maybe I overestimated. Maybe like early 2000s.
And count it down.
Right, final go. Let's go.
Status check.
Propulsion.
Terminal
Go.
count, Atlas systems. Propulsion.
Go.
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 Hydraulics. Go. Pneumatics.
Go.
Go.
We'll go on Atlas systems.
Water. Go. Centaur systems. Propulsion. Go. Pneumatics. Go. LO2. Go. LH2.
All greens.
Go. ASGAS. Go. Electrical systems. Airborne.
Go.
Ground. Go. Facility. Go. RFFTS.
Yep, we'll go so far.
Flight control. Go. GCQ. Go. Operation support. Go.
Go.
COM. Go.
Go.
Go. ECS. Go. Redline monitor. Go. Quality. Go. Ops safety manager. Go.
Well, go so far.
Safety officer.
Imagine last guy said no go.
Vehicle system engineer. Go. Anomaly chief. Go. Range coordinator. Clear to proceed. Launch.
We have go. Let's go.
Proceeding with the count. DLC. Verify T0.
Do you what? I do wonder if these guys just sit behind a desk. I wonder, see, like the guys doing the doing the systems, or like sitting behind and go, how do I say go, but make it sound cool.
Dylan choreograph that poll. The culmination of several hours of work by this launch team, and then hearing launch director Tom Heater from United Launch Alliance giving that.
I'm gonna be on like a live stream and it's my go to sound cool.
Here to hear that as we get ready to pick up the count.
As we look outside at the rocket, we can see those blue skies. The clouds are moving a little bit, very slight amount of clouds. You don't see it here.
We're hype.
You can see some of them there. They're moving. That's representative of those winds. But as we know here in Florida, it's such a beautiful time of year in March. But Mick, 3 months from now,
hurricane
season.
Well, I'm glad that's not a problem here.
Florida and everyone along the Atlantic seaboard and in the Gulf states.
Yeah, and I'll be very happy to have GOES-T up there in the west, as Kevin was saying. You know, all weather moving west to east, so getting GOES-T into proper position to follow the
T-5
will be a great asset for everybody from a personnel safety.
I wonder if these guys
really relies on
get to sign in instead of the fading. That'd be pretty cool. Like the engineers who worked on it
and give us that information about what's going on. And we have one of the more popular meteorologists that you may have heard of sent us a pre-launch message. Take a look at it now.
Oh, yep.
Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel Television Network, and I am so excited for the GOES-T launch. Meteorologists and weather.
Is it sad I've never heard of them?
Country depend on GOES data to bring you your daily weather forecast, but also to keep you and first responders safe during severe weather events.
Right, we have no cruise ships. How many it sees?
Crucial, and that's not possible without satellites like this one. Godspeed, GOES-T.
3, 2, 1, mark.
Yep.
And there you have the sync.
Yep, they'll have to sync the clocks so they don't launch before. Yep, we have the umbilical disconnect there.
Right-hand side, they are
I just saw that.
And that means we are starting up and really close to ready to go.
Yes, this is a very thrilling time for us, Daryl, as we get ready to perform a lot of activities here. The team's going to finish.
I wonder if they have a clamp on it, or it's just to. Because I don't really see like a clamp. I just see umbilicals.
Unit armed, the flight termination system armed, getting the vehicle on internal power, which we heard a little while ago that the spacecraft.
They must have some sort of organization, so it's not like that pure dangling when it's in like stand-up position.
Team that we talked about earlier, and they will get GOES-T ready for a liftoff at 4:38 p.m.
Yeah.
And there you can see from that shot of the pad out over the Atlantic Ocean.
The rocket after Strongback retract, and the rocket, as I said before on a few live streams, While the rocket is empty and not fueled, the rocket would just fall over because it's a little bit. It's basically like a kite in the wind because it's not heavy enough to hold itself down. But after the vehicle is fully fueled and a little bit heavier, that strongback will retract in preparation for liftoff. So does it get absolutely slammed and get replaced after every liftoff? It's still held down at the bottom if either hold down bolts at the bottom or some kind of clamps at the bottom.
Picking up the chatter here as we get down to the final minutes for the launch of GOES-T on board an Atlas V rocket from right here at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
Yeah, Daryl, we heard the team, they secured the Atlas tanks, the flight pressures, secured that topping. So we see that the liquid oxygen on board that first stage is secure and ready to go. We should be hearing them.
You would love to see, like,
the Centaur tanks.
See if the workers got the sign inside the fairing or something.
Spacecraft is on internal.
That'd be quite cool, because that means like their workers' names have went to space.
155.
Launch sequencer start.
Yep, vehicle is powered by its vehicle as internal power. That means that the batteries inside the vehicle are powering the vehicle and no longer powered by ground infrastructure.
Count and Centaur LH2 and LOX sequences are done. Launch has been enabled by the launch conductor.
FTS is armed. That is in case there is a major malfunction with the vehicle and it goes severely off course or unable to reach orbit. It breaks down in many small pieces instead of one big piece crashing into a kind of populated area.
SCS count started.
Yep, cut audio soon.
Reduce CCS for launch.
Right, let's get ready for launch.
110.
See you after launch.
There we hear the vent valves locked, securing everything to secure that boil off. We should now be coming up on the last call for the range.
1 minute.
We are green.
Range status.
Let's cut to full screen.
And there we have a green range, Daryl. So everything looks good this morning. Last but not least, we will bring everything to flight pressures and then hear that last status check from Dylan Rice.
And that'll be an exciting moment indeed as we look across the river there to a shot of the rocket. Just a few seconds left.
Stable at step 3.
And there we verified that all pressures are good. And we are stable at step 3, ready for liftoff this morning.
28.
Verify ECS reduced for launch.
Verified. 25.
Status check. Go Atlas. Go Centaur. Go GOES-T.
And here we go. The final seconds now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff. Liftoff of NOAA's GOES-T, our newest weather sentinel in the sky to help keep us safe here on the ground.
Daryl, let's listen in as we listen to United Launch Alliance Rob
This look good.
who's the flight mission commentator.
View has gone to closed loop control.
Oh, right. Wow, what a liftoff. That thing pure leaps. Wowza. We should be getting SRB separating soon. Well, not right now, but those vehicles provide the majority of the thrust to the vehicle. Surprisingly.
We have passed through Mach 1.
Right.
Vehicle is now passing through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure.
Throttle back those
now 55 seconds. Flight, 7 miles in altitude, 4 miles downrange distance, traveling at 1900 miles per hour. RD-180 is now throttling back up.
Yep, well, we're still going down range, perfectly normal liftoff. What a liftoff as well.
Atlas is 13 miles in altitude.
Smooth like butter, that liftoff was. Whoa, you can see that. Oh, we have SRB jettison by the looks of it.
Atlas 5 rocket weighs now just 1/2 of what it did at launch.
Oh, yeah.
At a rate of more than 2,600
Wait, yep, I'm just waiting on another stream. But I just
those solid rocket motors on the side will cut off.
Yep, we have it. Yep, we have it now. I'm actually ahead of you now.
Space.
SRBs have burned out as expected.
We are
And we see a
2
good
minutes and
SRB jettison.
19 seconds on my clock.
Clear shot.
That rocket does look weird without SRBs. Just trying to remember if Atlas can launch without SRBs. Wonder what the payload capacity would be.
Seconds are going to throttle back up.
Vehicle performance looks good at this time.
Very, it'd be need to be a very small satellite. Little Google.
The RD-180 has throttled down slightly. Vehicle performance continues to look good at this time.
I just want to see like a very just an Atlas without SRBs. That'd just be weird.
Now the upper stage is preparing.
They're all looking nominal.
Reaction control system is now pressurizing to flight levels.
I wonder if people in launch control also just practice in the mirror in the morning. Nominal. No pitch over.
Now they'll jettison the payload fairing, which protects GOES T.
We're waiting for payload jettison.
30 seconds.
Well, not payload. Not. Yep. And we have on my stream we have jettison of the fairing.
It's just over 1 minute until BECO.
Whoa, I am ahead of you,
We're now
jeez.
seeing the RD-180 throttle limiting.
Put on playback speed just to get up to speed if you need.
Standing by for payload fairing jettison.
We're all looking nominal. The payload is now is now exposed to space. The fairing is used on ascent to protect the vehicle from atmospheric heating and the forces on the vehicle during liftoff.
The vehicle has reached a 4.6 G acceleration limit and will maintain this level through BECO.
And you're looking at
Waiting on your stream, but I have Miko on my stream.
Boost phase chill down sequence.
Booster about to cut off.
And BECO, booster engine cutoff. Standing by for
I'm
stage
still
separation.
waiting.
And a successful stage separation event.
Hold up.
We've seen pre-start on the RL-10.
It doesn't look like it started, but I don't know if it's just the way it looks.
That's one. We have ignition for the first burn. This first burn of
See the way you look at it, it looks like it oscillates and not actually.
into a parking orbit around
Is that started?
This burn will last just over 7 minutes.
What a shot there, huh, Mick?
Yeah, that was great to be able to see all that and listen to Rob Kesselman call that flight. The first stage performed very well this afternoon.
All right, okay.
Everything's looking good. Those gyms.
Reaction control system as it begins its periodic firings to maintain thermal control conditioning.
Yeah, those GEM 63s performed well, solid rocket boosters, and RD-180 performed as well. What I really liked was
that
right, okay. That was a great shot from the camera. Saw the payload fairing come off.
That's why,
hydrogen,
right.
Half
makes sense
come
now.
Off after payload fairings. Yeah. That was what we call the Centaur forward load reaction deck. Because the fairing, the 5-meter fairing encompasses both Centaur and the GOES T satellite, there's a load ring that's inside the fairing around Centaur to help keep that 5-meter fairing from flexing. So that's what you saw when you came off there.
I was wondering about that.
The engine response remains phenomenal.
And so
word from the trajectory and performance group that booster performance was as expected for the booster phase of flight.
All right, we're going to keep an eye on this burn and listen in.
Oh, we're commentators first launch. Oh, jeez.
Megan out the host desk.
If you're just joining us, welcome live to Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where we just saw GOES T launch from just behind us at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. And guess what, everyone? I just found out.
Was it Mr. Producer? I don't know either.
It was.
How was it?
It was super exciting. Almost a proud moment as an American. 20-year.
Yep. Headphone users, you are now safe from Producer.
Was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here. It was very
because they actually turned down the audio this one.
You were like a kid, like, oh, I have to take this. Oh, wow.
I
was
was
great.
absolutely.
It was great. So what's next for this mission?
Well, the wonderful thing about this, now that
We are
we've
all
had
looking
successful
nominal.
launch,
We
about 12
we have
days
main
before
engine
it actually
start
hits
1.
geostationary orbit. So at that point,
I'm
that's
unsure
when we'll
when we
start our
should
checkout
receive
phase.
Miko
We'll be
1.
looking
Let me
for
just.
the data to come down from the
I'm
spacecraft
just
to make
checking
sure
that.
everything checks out, that the images are correct, all that kind of stuff has to work its way through.
And GOES is NOAA's latest weather satellite, as we've said. We've been launching GOES satellites together for nearly 50 years. I mean, there's been so many.
I believe it should be soon,
There have,
but
and
maybe
I like to
because this
remind
is
people
going
that this particular satellite in the series is really
to a
an
geostationary
evolutionary
orbit,
step,
may
much
be
like cell phones.
slightly
Or
longer
when we
burn.
talk about, hey, do you remember when we used to use landlines and rotary phones? Well, think about the leap we've taken from then to the cell phones and the capabilities that we have, much like that with our satellites.
Yeah, I know. I feel safer
Awaiting
knowing
that
satellites are up there.
main
Now I'd like to
engine
bring
cut
in
off,
NASA's
and
Leah Martin, who
I
got to
believe
watch the launch
soon.
with our agency's deputy administrator, Leah.
By now,
Hi,
the
Megan.
Falcon 9 booster would have landed. I just realized.
NASA's deputy administrator, and what did you think
Yeah,
of
as
that
you can
launch?
see, those
So
RCS thrusters are working perfectly. That is Palm. That is Palm. She launched on a space shuttle.
When a launch goes up, you're like, wow, people can do this. This is just the power and
It
the
must be
majesty
weird
of it
after like a
as you
launch
see it
walking
lifting
out
into
to an
the
empty
heavens.
pad.
It's always exciting.
Like just a
And,
transporter,
hours and
no
hours
rocket
and
on it.
months and months of work that go into it. Absolutely.
I wonder
So,
like
NASA's
how
vision is to
long they have to
expand,
wait. I would
knowledge for the
because they probably
benefit
like
of people
they have to
here on
wait for
Earth as
something like the
heart
ground
behind
equipment to
everything
cool
that we
down,
do. How does
and
this mission fit into that?
all like
This mission is a
the
great example of our
loading
mission in a lot of different ways.
pipes
I
to
think one
be
of the most
purged before they
powerful
can
things that we
access the
do at
pad,
NASA is we
and
partner
that
with
means they
others
can
to
just roll back the
maximize the
transporter for
benefit of
another
the things
launch.
that we do. So this mission to launch the GOES-T satellite will enable us to have cutting-edge capabilities that are looking down on the Western Hemisphere, the western part of the United States, to ensure that the data that goes into the NOAA models around weather are optimized, they're up to date, they will affect people's lives, whether it's farmers or protecting from wildfires. But what's interesting is we're also going to
As said, I do wonder if like they just walk back to a pad.
who are
So
modeling
the new intern.
our Earth as
Wait,
a
where'd the
system
rocket go?
and climate far
Someone
out
stole
into
the
the future.
rocket.
This isn't an operational weather, which is what NOAA's mission is. They do it very well. But we take this data and we also use it for the benefit of science. So it's a really synergistic partnership.
And you just mentioned climate change and monitoring the changes, because that is
We are looking good at the moment.
It is. It's one of our top priorities. We are already doing a significant amount in this area. Earth science and looking at our own Earth has always been an
Just trying to see if
important
that's
part of
one
our
or two.
science
That's
mission.
one engine on the second
Interestingly,
stage.
we also study other planets in the solar system, such as Mars,
You
which
do
we believe
wonder,
was once
like
wet
a rock,
and had more of an
a rock.
atmosphere. And so the question is, how did it get the way
A crew
that it
capsule would
did,
never take
and
this
how do we
kind
make sure
of
that does not
burn on the
happen
second
to
stage.
our
It's a
planet?
I would believe it's a
So
little
it's
too
a critical part
steep.
of our mission.
Well, we're
It
hoping
wouldn't
that the
just
information
too
that we
many
get today can
G
feed
forces
into the future missions of tomorrow.
on
If nothing else, we'll certainly
the
know
crew of
the
that
weather.
capsule.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and we hope you
Thank
enjoyed
you.
the live.
Exciting day.
Megan, back to you.
Thank you, Leah and Pam.
All looking good
and
so
Ken,
far.
Of course, he doesn't just forecast the weather. We've talked about this a little bit. We've talked about how it monitors the atmosphere for fog, dust storms, and smoke, and especially
Yep,
for
it did look
wildfires.
like
But what
Palm
about, like,
had a
smoke
little
and
bit of a bad
ash
hair day,
for
but it could
volcanic
have been the
eruptions?
wind.
Yeah, absolutely. This
Or maybe
past
just
year's
a little
been
bit of wind in
kind
here
of a
speaking then.
revelation in our capabilities to view volcanic eruptions. In particular, probably the most spectacular example would be the Tongan. But what we also
Let's
have
do
is
a little
another
bit
example in the
of
Caribbean where you can see not only the amount of ash that goes
tag
up, but
here.
the
You
area
can
that it
draw.
covers.
You can
And as a
find
result of that,
Total Space on
that particular
Total
hazard
Space
becomes an
on Twitter
aviation
and
hazard in particular.
Instagram. I believe it also Total Space Net.
Weirdly enough, 2 years
We're
ago, I was
also on
traveling in the
Odyssey,
Philippines, and there was a
and we
volcanic
also have a
eruption
website
there,
at
and we had to ground hundreds of
totalspace.com, I
flights
believe.
because of it. So really, GOES helps decide
Totalspace.net.
whether it's safe to fly.
Sorry.
They do. Again, NOAA's partnered with the FAA, and they provide them with those volcanic
Ash
ash
Roadie.
forecasts.
That speech is blown away. Same here.
All right, we're now approaching another
It's a
milestone in the
541, I
ascent.
think.
Daryl
Yep.
Mick,
Fading
back
in
to you.
length, 4 is boosters, and 1 is
Thank you
second
very
stage
much,
engine.
Megan, and
Yeah,
we'll
that's
continue to
probably 2.
burn, continue
That's
to
right,
get
because it'll be a
knowledge as we
542 then.
monitor the flight of the
So remember,
Centaur and
hearing
Ghost-T.
that at one point.
Yeah, things are looking really great on this flight, and coming up on MECO 1 of that Centaur engine as
Let's get about
Centaur
going to the
continues
dark
to
side.
perform nominally. We've heard pressures and everything look great.
And I don't know, I'm not here. Me engine cut off 1 has been called out apparently.
There you go.
Yep, we have MECO 1. We have that cut off. We are coasting for 11 minutes.
At this time, the GOES-T spacecraft and ULA Centaur upper stage are in an unpowered coast phase.
Right. At this point, is it okay, Mr. Producer, if we just cut to... Actually, no. I think that's all it's going to be for the day. If you can cut to just me.
Yeah, the team is using all the...
Thank you for joining us for the launch of GOES-T. It's been a really good experience for me just streaming by myself. Thank you as always to Mr. Producer for helping me out. Thank you to our viewers, obviously, and everyone who has watched this stream. You can find me, your host, at Space Civilian on Twitter. Oh god, I'm going potato. I just realised my camera. Sorry about that. And my camera just went potato mode. Right, we're back. It has been a pleasure streaming this to you. Hope you can join us for streams soon. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your night or day, depending where you are. Heading out. Ad Astra.